If you've been watching WWE this week and found yourself thinking, wait, haven't I seen this before? You're definitely not alone. A sense of creative deja vu has started to creep into WWE in 2025, and it's not just the fans who are getting tired. From the same matches happening every week after week to baffling booking that kills a wrestler's momentum, patience is wearing thin. Today, we're looking at the exact reasons why both fans and wrestlers are starting to lose patience with WWE. Now, business is absolutely booming. Ticket prices are breaking records and the financials look stronger than ever. But there's a growing disconnect between that corporate success and what we're actually seeing on TV. The on-screen product just feels stuck in place, and for a lot of longtime viewers, it's become frustratingly predictable. This isn't about the talent. The roster is stacked with some of the best athletes in the world. It's about how they're being used, or in many cases, not being used to their full potential. The honeymoon period of the Triple H creative era seems to be over. And now we're seeing some issues that are just getting too big to ignore. So today we're breaking down the top 5 biggest reasons fans and wrestlers are losing patience with the WWE. First up is an issue that's making the weekly shows feel like a chore. Repetitive match formats and just plain creative fatigue. The sameness of Raw and SmackDown has become a huge point of frustration for a lot of viewers. We see the small group of wrestlers fighting each other in slightly different combinations week after week. How many times can a champion lose a non-title match just to set up a defense at the next premium live event? How many tag matches have to end in a DQ just to set up a 6-man tag the next week? These formulas aren't just noticeable anymore, they're getting annoying. It makes watching 3 hours of Raw and 2 hours of SmackDown feel like a massive time commitment for very little payoff. The shows often feel like they drag, padding out with long video packages and way too much downtime between matches. And this isn't just a fan complaint. That creative burnout has an impact backstage. When storylines feel like they are just running in circles, it's tough for the wrestlers to stay invested, and even tougher for the audience to care. Under the leadership of Chief Content Officer Paul Levesque, the hope was for a more focused product. Instead, both Raw and SmackDown often feel like they're pulling from the same limited playbook, which leads to a show that feels safe, predictable, and worst of all, skippable. The core fans, the ones who follow every twist and turn, are feeling burned out because the joy of being surprised has been replaced by the certainty of seeing the same thing again. Next on the list of one of the most heartbreaking problems in WWE, the curse of squandered momentum. Time and time again, a wrestler will get over with the crowd all on their own, build up incredible hype, and seem ready for the main event, only for creative to drop the ball. 2025 has been full of examples. Just look at the Wyatt Six. Their debut was one of the most talked about and genuinely terrifying moments in recent memory. But after that first burst of chaos, their momentum just stalled. Instead of a clear, scary story, they were mostly used to terrorize the tag team division in a way that felt unfocused and took the spotlight from established teams without a real narrative payoff. Then you have a talent like Jacob Fatu. He exploded onto SmackDown, connected instantly with fans, and even won the United States Championship. He looked like a can't-miss main eventer, but after losing the title, he just seemed to fade into the background. a classic case of a red-hot star getting cooled off for no reason. Karrion Kross has also been stuck in a start-stop booking all year. He'll get a big win or have a great segment only to vanish from TV for weeks, killing any momentum he had. When WWE fails to consistently build the next generation of main event stars, it creates a serious depth problem. The company becomes way too reliant on a few top names, and if one of them gets hurt, the whole show gets thrown into chaos because nobody else has been built up to take their place. For fans and wrestlers, watching potential stars get their legs cut from under them is one of the most frustrating things in all of wrestling. At number 3, we have an issue that's more than just a bad booking complaint. It's about breaking the audience trust. In May, WWE presented its Backlash premium live event, but what fans got wasn't what they were promised. Hours before the show, 5 major matches that had been advertised for weeks, including Gunther vs. Sheamus and Charlotte Flair vs. Asuka, were suddenly pulled from the card without any explanation. Fans who bought tickets and tuned in based on those advertised matches were left confused and angry. The backlash online was immediate, with many accusing WWE of a classic bait and switch. To make matters worse, the company offered no on-air explanation, leaving commentators and fans completely in the dark. Reports even suggested that some of the wrestlers were backstage in their gear, ready to perform when the decision was made. This kind of move damages the relationship between WWE and its audience. Fans agree to suspend their disbelief for the storylines, but they expect the promotion itself to be upfront with them. Pulling advertised matches with no communication makes the company seem unprepared and disrespectful to the people who paid their hard-earned money to see the show. It was a major unforced error that created a sense of distrust and left a black eye on what should have been a big event. It's clear that 2025 has had its fair share of creative frustrations. But what do you think has been the single most frustrating booking decision of their year so far? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this breakdown, do us a favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more. Every year has its questionable booking, but our 4th point is about a storyline that perfectly captures the creative frustrations of 2025. The complete mishandling of Chad Gable. After a career-defining run in 2024, where he became one of the most popular baby faces in the entire company, fans were desperate to see him finally win the big one. Instead, WWE's booking has been a masterclass in how to kill organic momentum. Gable consistently lost his championship matches, and just when fan support was at its absolute peak, the story just stopped. Then, in early 2025, he turned heel, a move that felt completely out of left field and alienated the fans who had been cheering for him. The follow-up has been just as confusing. His new American-made faction and his bizarre masked alter ego, El Grande Americano, have been met with more head-scratching than anything else. The storyline has been all over the place. One week he's a serious, bitter technician. The next, he's a comedic character hiding under a mask. Instead of capitalizing on the red-hot babyface the fans were begging to see succeed, creative went in a completely different direction that hasn't connected. It's a perfect example of WWE seemingly ignoring what the audience wants in favor of a creative plan that just isn't working. For many, the journey of Chad Gable in 2025 symbolizes the disconnect between the fans and the booking. Finally, at number 5, we have the problem that ties all of these other frustrations together. The growing feeling that WWE is putting profits way ahead of the quality of its product. Of course, WWE is a business, but in 2025, the corporate side of the company has become so obvious that it feels like it's hurting the show itself. This feeling is fueled by a few things. Fans are facing insane ticket prices, and a TKO executive even said that Vince McMahon's old family-friendly pricing is gone, and the new goal is to max the opportunity on ticket revenue. That has led a lot of people to question whether the show they're seeing is actually worth the huge cost of going to a live event. When you add in the constant on-screen sponsorships and the focus on profitable but creatively bland international events, the whole thing can start to feel less like entertainment and more like a sales pitch. This corporate mindset seems to be affecting backstage morale too. Reports in July 2025 pointed to a major blow to company morale after TKO cut employee severance pay in half, even while the company is boasting about record profits. When employees feel undervalued and the audience feels like they're being treated like an ATM, it creates a negative vibe all around. This disconnect between record profits and the quality of the show makes all the creative problems we've talked about feel even worse. It's one thing for a show to have a bad week. It's another thing to feel like the company is so focused on its bottom line that it doesn't care about putting on a consistently great show for the fans who built it. So, where does that leave us? In 2025, WWE is in a weird spot. Financially, it's bigger and more successful than ever. But when it comes to the creative, there's a crisis of patience brewing with both the performers and the most loyal fans. From recycled storylines and predictable shows to squandering the momentum of rising stars like Jacob Fatu and Chad Gable, the problems are getting harder to ignore. The audience's trust was broken with booking disasters like the last-minute changes to Backlash, and it's all happening under a cloud of rising ticket prices and a feeling that the corporate machine is taking over. It's important to note that backstage morale isn't said to be as miserable as it was in the final years of the Vince McMahon regime. However, reports indicate that the over-the-moon feeling from when Triple H first took over is gone, replaced by a more critical view of the creative and business decisions. The talent is there, the money is there. What seems to be missing is the creative spark and the willingness to deliver what the audience is asking for. The cracks are definitely starting to show. The question now is whether WWE leadership will listen and make the changes needed to win back the full trust and patience of the locker room and the millions of fans who just want a reason to love the product again. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay frosty.